It's Friday, you bastards.
The internet brings comic fans around the world into one comic book community. Comic creators and comic fans, tonight you are seen, heard, recognized. Because comics are for everyone. Live from Miami, Florida, broadcasting around the world, this is the Not Near Mint Show.
Hey, welcome to the Not Near Mint Show, everybody. It's the 180th episode. It is almost the Ides of March, and it's also the 5-year anniversary in the next 4 days that we had the 31st episode where we had to come on the network and go, hey, guys, coronavirus is kind of shutting down all our comic book stores. So we're going to play a little clip of that at the end of the episode, but otherwise, how are you guys?
Good.
Doing great.
Oh,
Wonderful.
wonderful cold that's been kicking my butt, but you know, whatever.
I mean, I just got a notification to let everybody know. Anybody in the states of Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana, be careful of tornadoes tonight.
Connecticut. Oh, wait, that's not how the song went.
Fun times. Woohoo! Hi, Miracleman. Hi, Bradizel. And hello again, Miracleman. We're going to start the show just going straight into it. Top 10 comics, and you're going to notice some things are a little bit familiar. So before we do that, let me take this little scrolling bar off the screen and we will go straight to the top 10. And the top 10, this is the second week of March. So you're going to notice some repeats on this list. One is because it dropped even further, and one because it raised even further. I base this all off my 27,000 comics that I have behind me. I'm a hoarder. Don't be like me. But in any case, you know, 27,000 books, put them into what?
27,000 comics. I remember when I first started collecting comics.
And when was that? Like back in the Stone Age when you were driving a car with your feet with Fred Flintstone and Barney?
Well, yes, it was, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, it was during the pandemic that I did all this, where I took all these books and I was putting them into Mylar because some of the comics got really stupid expensive. So while everything was going expensive and most people were zigging, I zagged and got supplies, all the nerd supplies that I could possibly need. It took a while to be delivered, but in those first 2 weeks of the pandemic, I put all this stuff into CLZ. And later on, they connected up with Go Collect, and then they dropped them, and then they signed up with CovrPrice. And if you have a subscription to both, you hit the value update button. It gives you a fairly accurate representation of what everything is worth based off of at least one sale that week. So we're going to get right into it. These are the bottom 5. So we're going to start with number 10. Jump on over to the other camera here as, well, one of them is kind of spoiled just because it's so damn big, but some of you probably already know what that one might be. But number 10, this is a repeat from last week. You're thinking, Rob, what are you doing? Are you just lazy? No, it's that this was number 10 last week where this dropped below 2,000 and it dropped again. This thing has dropped to $1,639. Somebody paid for the first appearance of the Silver Surfer, down $628 in a very fine minus, and came out in 1965. Why is it dropping so low? Is it because of a movie? I mean, well, yeah, maybe I'm lazy and it's dropped also. It's a little bit of both because I've been to Key West twice this week, one for a trial for 3 days, and I just got back about an hour ago. But this already put together last night. Jeez. Go ahead.
Don't touch the watcher's penis. Stop it.
I'll touch it the way I want.
No.
My comic.
Ow.
You know, he's watching you do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think he watches because
he's not allowed to interfere.
There's not a multiverse where you didn't touch his penis. That's the problem.
He's a kinkster. We all know this. Speaking of kinky, we have the first appearance of Hawkman. I told you I was putting this together real quick last night.
You're going to have to explain that comment for a second.
There we
I'll
go.
give
That's
Wesley
better.
3. We're just
Who's
waiting
the first
for
to come?
You can't just let that go without explanation.
There we go. There we go.
There you go. So I fixed it. So now its first appearance is Atana as it is meant to be. This came out in 1964, and this is drop 2 because this is a book that right now it's about it where I almost paid for it in a 6.0 fine, raw condition copy, $577. Somebody paid this week. It is down 203. Also of note, this week the stock market just had its asshole drop out. So aside from today where it went up about 674 points, this weekend might be a little weird trying to compete with other people online because some are holding their money and others are going, fuck it all, we're all going to die. So comics, let's splurge it all. But they're paying less for it, as you're noticing. Number 8, we have Fantastic Four. Jesus, I really needed help today. Last night, apparently. So this is Fantastic Four, not 48, but it is 49. This is the first cover appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus, first full Galactus, and came out in 1966. Yes, there is a movie coming. Yes, they're going to be in it, sort of. $397. It is down 59. Now, let's see what's the next thing I might have made a mistake on. Weird War Tales. This is, I didn't put the number. See, I might as well have Tony on and just say, hey, Old Wolf, take over the show. This is the real train wreck.
First appearance of GI Robot.
There you go. Yeah, well,
No,
a little later.
no, I'll fight you. No,
A prototype similar to
no, that's just Creature Commandos.
This is first Creature Commandos. In 110 is where you have the GI Robot fully formed, the way that we see him as the Nazi killer. Good killing Nazis. We like that. Thumbs up. But yeah, this thing is down this week. Came out in 1980 in a fine minus 5.5 raw. $104. That same condition copy about 2-3 months ago, going for about $250. So if you can wait for some of these, they do go down. Drops $49.
$250 was insanely overpriced.
I agree.
It's
It's
not
a
that
good
old.
comic.
It's a good.
It's
book.
not hard to find.
Not hard
It
to
wasn't.
find. Yeah, crazy.
But hey, much like that Fightin' 5 first appearance of Peacemaker,
Right.
they were found for $10 for years and years and years. And then, hey, let's make a movie. Let's make a TV show. Here you go. All right, let's see what's the next thing I might have made a mistake on. We have Swamp Thing number 37 from volume 2, technically volume 1, because it was Saga of Swamp Thing.
Right.
Did I put that? Oh,
No.
God, no. Thank God. All right. First appearance of John Constantine, the Hellblazer. This is down this week. Why would it be down this week? I mean, you just had a reprint come out. You had a reprint come out with foil on it even. I didn't get it. Probably should have. But $170 somebody paid for a very fine plus copy. Down $31. It's not like these things are rare, but once people get them, they don't want to give them up.
Yeah.
So those were the down copies. Now we're going with the up copies. The comic spikes. This one here was a holdover from last year. It was on the list often. We have issue number 1 from volume 2 of Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, first issue of alternate reality, Married with Children, Mary Jane and Peter Parker with the kids. So this is up.
Going nowhere.
I mean, it's still continuing. It didn't end at issue 6. If I thought that this was going to end at issue 6, yeah, this should have dropped big. But since people are really liking the story, hey, C-Word 19, good to see you, man. Barbarian Kung Fu and Jaguar, hi. So this thing is up this week. This was at this price just a few months ago, but now it's starting to creep back up again because it's still being printed. And now that we have continuing stories, people still desire that first print, despite the fact they're on the 10th printing by now. Mm-hmm. Near Mint came out in 2024, $108. It is up 19.
That's
now
crazy.
The book,
That's
it
crazy,
is.
man.
I mean, it was not exactly under ordered, but at the same time, it kind of was because they just have so many different Spider-Man titles.
Yeah.
What shop imagines that this is going to be the one that hits out of all the other issue 1s? I mean, how many issue 1 Spider-Man comics came out this year?
Probably more than one.
3.
It's over 10, right? There was a Web of Venom,
10.
Spider-Man. I count the Venom books too.
Oh, okay.
Those count.
Yeah, over 10. So who knows what's going to hit? And this one did. And it's written by an amazing writer. The art's fantastic, and people can't wait to read it issue to issue. That was 5. Number 4, we have Superman versus Amazing Spider-Man. Number 1, first Marvel DC official crossover. I say official because the first time DC and Marvel got together, they were printing a treasury size similar to this, very oversized, but it was the Wizard of Oz. Well, in any case, this thing has gone up this week, despite the fact these are hard to send by mail. Good thing you can get it at an LCS if you can, because by mail, you're going to be overpaying, I assure you. 7.5, very fine, minus Raw 1976. This came out. Somebody paid $222. It is up 48.
Wow, that's a bit much.
And what's really annoying for a Mylar whore like myself, because I'm a real hooah for Mylar. You can tell I love the glass look.
Yes.
I cannot find Mylar for this size. If anybody can help out with that, do drop that in the comments later. Meanwhile, number 3,
that's
we have.
difficult.
This is a bit more difficult, and there's a better reason that this has gone up more this week, because this is kind of up, a little down. It depends on who's really looking. Oh, yeah, the Mylar is.
Sorry, I'm trying to talk between my dog barking and then muting myself, so I'm a little bit behind the story.
It's all good. So this is the 3rd appearance of Dr. Doom. It's for those that can't afford the first with issue 5 or the second with issue 6. Might as well just get this. Well, this came out in 1962. Somebody paid $315 for a very good copy, up 49. Now we're getting to the last ones here. We have number 2, Uncanny X-Men, number 66. I can't even call it uncanny, but it helps for people to understand that I'm not talking about the volume 2 from the 90s. This is the original run from 1970. This is the final issue of X-Men before they went, fuck it, we give up. We tried everything. We even had Steranko come in here and redesign the logo. We had him on art. We had different, right? Nothing works. We give up. Reprints until, Cockrum and Chris Claremont, and the rest was history. Meanwhile, this thing is up. It is $208. It went up $69. So, 69 dudes. The number 1 book. This is a reprint. Yeah. Not a reprint, thank God. It is a holdover from last week. This was number 2 last week. This went up even more because the prior week it was under $1,000 and it just broke. So this week it is now at $1,280. Somebody paid upwards more than the last time, up $260. Wow. For a fine, very fine 7.0 copy. And remember, for all you out there, this list is intended to help collectors and readers determine if they should look for a particular copy or series or run or key or whatever, or just wait 6 weeks. And if that is it's still up, wait 6 months. And if the son of a bitch is still up there, you might as well get it because it's probably not coming down anytime soon. And those are the top 10 comics for the second week of March. So hi guys, sorry I had to go through all that there with you. Who has some comics that they want to show that they just got? Because these are old comics. I want to see what you all just got.
Are we doing Dave yet, or just like comics?
I say we do a little bit of both. If you just picked up a Dave Stevens, that's one thing, but we can interject that here and there because this is going to be a bit of a retrospective of his life. I just recently rewatched the Dave Stevens 2022 movie, the documentary on his life, and it's a bit heartbreaking, but at the same time, it shows the strength of a great artist and perfectionist. So if you have some new books or some Dave, we're ready. Who wants to go first?
I don't have a lot today, but I'll do a few. And these are not my Dave. My Dave is my second patch. So I just randomly picked this up because it's a Miss Marvel cover that I might not have. They've done this, obviously, with Kitty Pryde was the original. Welcome to the X-Men Kitty Pryde. And then they did a Miles cover like this. They did the Miss Marvel cover and perhaps others that I'm not aware of. I don't know. And then today, I just saw something that's not really in my wheelhouse, but I just felt like spending money. So I lack of discipline. So I got some books. I thought I'd try to clean up and press and see. This first one is about this guy who swims a lot, Aquaman.
Oh, I want that so bad. That's one of the
And
Mary Janes.
he is getting married to Mira in this issue. This is probably the worst condition of all of them. All of them are attached and stuff.
Do you have a heat gun?
I usually use a hairdryer, but hear me out. I have been first of all, that 15-cent looks so well placed. I didn't realize it was a sticker till after I bought it.
Oops.
I honestly thought, oh, that's weird that they made an earlier one 15-cent and the later ones were 12 cents. Like that went through my mind. No, that's a sticker, I realized when I got it home a few hours ago. So I have been a big fan of the hair dryer and razor blade and Goo Gone, and I've had several reels that have been popular. People watching me move stickers. I put them on like double speed, and I remove like 50 stickers in a minute, and it looks really cool. I've been doing that, and usually I don't damage the comics. The more modern inks get damaged by, there's a substance called Goo Gone that removes the gunk, but this can also damage a lot of modern inks. I've tried lighter fluid with some success as well. Barbarian, very good comment. Bestine, which I think might have the similar properties to lighter fluid, is what is suggested by MT. And I've seen him do a lot of restoration comics, so I'm going to purchase some Bestine and try his methods. He says to put a silicone release paper like you were going to press it underneath the cover, and then to put Bestine on both sides, and it kind of like dissolves the sticker ink without harming the paper or the inks. So just something new to try. I have done a lot of hair dryer and razor blade, but anyway, this is probably like with the sticker, it's probably like a 1.0. I figure this can get to a 3 or 4. And then if you are Bestine, Barbarian, Bestine, who said they wanted this? Miracleman or Michael?
Michael Emond.
Michael. Let's talk for sure, because I didn't pay too much for it. I'd be glad to let it go for the same. Let me try to clean it up. I just thought these would be fun to fix up, and I don't have any Silver Age Aquaman in my collection, but I'm not like, oh my god, I'm never letting these go. The next one is the first. I think this is the first appearance. Did I get this in the right order? 33. Yeah, this is the first appearance of Aquagirl. I believe so. I believe I got that right. So that was Yes. She wears a lot of skimpies in this, and this one with a little bit. I mean, look at this for a 1968 12 center. That's easy dirt to get off. It looks worn, but there's no rips. It's attached. I mean, this could probably come up to like a 5.0, 6.0. I was pretty happy with that. And then let's see what else we got. Aquaman Live. This next one, I love this cover. Issue 39. Look at that.
Yes, please.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Cardi?
That is nice. Very happy with that. And this one could be like an 8.5, maybe a 9.0. I mean, for the age, I was stunned at how just absolutely like glossy this looks. Thanks, Mark. This this is what the back of my Copper Age comics look like, not Silver Age comics. So I was early. What is 68? Still silver?
Yeah, it's silver all the way through 71, 72.
Okay, yeah. So Silver Age comics don't usually look this good unless you're paying top dollar. Now that's not a key, but it's beautiful and it's old and it's nice, and that's really all I need. It's beautiful, old, and nice. Now,
No, prior to 1968, there was no such thing as comic bags, and here we have Michael with his copy.
ooh,
No, I know. I thought it was the same cover too at first.
Oh,
Yeah.
But no, this he kind of did a variation on a theme.
Yeah, very cool. This next one is the first DC artwork by, let me get the name right. Arapo. Is it Jim Arapo or
Jim Aparo.
Aparo? There you go.
No, that's a Nick Cardy. That's still a Nick Cardy cover. It's the Aparo's
Aparo
on
the interiors.
On
Yeah.
the inside, okay.
Yeah, I love those Nick Cardy covers.
It's not the cover, but it is the first artwork by Jim Aparo.
Oh, I love his covers so much.
Look, so this is Nick Cardy. This is amazing.
I love
this. This is just gorgeous. And again, this one could get a 9.2. This one, yeah. Well, so if I can find somebody who can like wash those out, some people can like do magic to get inks out. But other than that, like there's just nothing on this spine that I'm sliding upside down for some reason. There's not a tick on it. There's off-white to, I mean, I don't even think I'd call that cream or tan. That's off-white to white, right? Like and I'm not even a grade person, but I just looked at these and, you know, at half price, I don't know if you guys have half price where you are, but they have like the locked cabinet where they keep the expensive comics. You have to go to the counter, ask for somebody to open them. They have to call to the back. Somebody from the back goes up to the counter to get the key that they don't keep at the back, but that the guy at the front can't use. And then that person comes over and I'm like, I'm going to look at these comics. And I take out that much Aquaman. I put them down. I said, now I'm going to put them in order because they're not in numerical order. And that bothers me. And this poor like pimply faced kid's like, what the fuck is grandpa doing? So I put them all in numerical order, flip open Key Collector, right? And I'm like, okay, for the condition, that's priced too high. Ooh, I like that cover. It's a key. That price, I'll put that in the maybe pile. That one, I don't care what price it is. I'm getting that. That looks awesome. And I'm going back and forth, driving this kid crazy, and I don't care. That's his job. So there you go.
You're making money, right, kid?
Yeah, well, yeah. 4 Silver Age Aquaman. And yeah, Michael, let me clean these, and then I'll contact you in a week or so. I might be happy to let them go. I just did you want all of them or just that one?
Yeah, I mean, I get all, but I'm on Canada, so we'll have to. I warn you about that.
We have to have some smuggling routes. We'll work out.
It'll be easier when they're the 51st state. So we'll just
Well, no, because
is that your idea, Mr. Miracle?
That's coming right after the destruction of the post office. So
right.
Know.
Well, that's why we need Canada. We need their postal service. So we're just gonna.
I'll show a little bit of Dave next round, but like I said, I didn't get much this week. I'm looking to sell big on Astonishing Auctions Whale tomorrow. So
I actually got a package in from Canada. It took 2 weeks to get here. I'll be opening it a little later, but it shows that packages are getting here. Even says comic book on it.
You better go on to somebody else because I'm dancing, and you don't want me to start dancing because I ain't going to stop, and it's going to look bad. So if you don't mind, just
why is he
one of those people over there? Nope.
Now take your shirt off.
Oh, look who gets excited when you do that. Oh, come on.
Kitty,
they're waiting for you.
Miracleman, I'm the one who drew that imaginary line, and I'm taking offense.
Well, I apologize. What is it? 54-40 or fight? What is that? What was that? The last time we were like, hey, let's go to war with our closest ally and neighbor.
We burned down the White House last time. We'll do it again.
You guys did.
Again. I love repetition.
You guys did burn down the White House. I'll give you that one.
Girl. Good girl.
But to be fair, we had like 3 soldiers back then. It wasn't even, there weren't that many.
You're knocking over the Dave Stevens. Go.
Oh. Wow.
Them's fighting words.
All right, Mike, you want to go next?
Yeah.
Well, while he deals with the dog, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right.
Okay. I got some new stuff. I don't usually get new stuff, but I got some new stuff. I mean, it's old for you guys, but I have to get it shipped in.
If it's not Wednesday and you got it on New Comic Wednesday and it came out on New Comic Wednesday, they're all old comics.
Okay. This is the first appearance of Zatanna. No.
Got him.
This is the first appearance. Kidding. This is the first appearance. Oh, wait. No, it's the first appearance of Hawkman. Sorry.
The first appearance of the 3rd Zatanna Magic Rabbit. and that's going to become a key soon.
Very soon.
But I love those covers, so I got it. This is just a facsimile. Don't get too excited, but I got tired of trying to find the originals, and I really love the covers, so I just got the facsimile that came out. This one, I also want the original one day, but I got tired of bidding on it and losing, so I just got the facsimile. I love Amazo, his greatest costume ever. Like, why even cover up those beautiful nipples? Don't do it. I can never say no to. Let me try and get it right. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. So this is a beautiful cover from him.
I believe that's pronounced Luis.
Holy shit, you actually said it right. I can't believe it.
That's revenge for the Zatanna jokes, guaranteed.
We were talking about Nick Cardy. There's not a Nick Cardy cover I don't love, and this is another one of his.
That's a great one.
It is. I mean, I know Neil Adams is probably the most desired of that time frame, but yeah, give me a good Nick Cardy any day. I got in the bargain bin, The Many Lives of Jimmy Olsen.
Nice.
That crazy redhead. And I got a couple of Grus to fill in my missing ones, trying to get the full set. So that's an early one of his. And
Gru is great. That's one I think. Oh, wait,
Love
do
it.
I have that one? I think that's one of the ones I have.
probably.
Towards the end, I'm a little spotty, but I have like the last 5 in a row. But spotty just before.
And in honor of the shirt I'm wearing, I picked up a few Captain Americas. Not great condition, but I like the covers, so I go for a nice cover.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Zach.
Very good one. Very
I
good
think
one.
that's one of the ones dropping. An old Kirby when he came back. And a wistful time when President.
Oh, yeah.
And
Now we're getting to the point where he might walk away from being Captain America. It seems to happen every time we have a terrible president.
Yeah, it's true. And I don't know if anybody remembers this series.
Yeah,
Oh,
shake
yeah.
Yeah.
One of my
Am I
favorites.
allowed to? Am I allowed to? Well, I don't think there's any nudeness on the covers.
No, on
Yeah.
It's the interiors that are all sexual.
right.
Are they? Because I haven't read that. Okay.
It's great, but yeah, very.
It is super sexual.
Oh,
It
this
pissed
might
off
be.
a lot of mothers that when they found out that their kids went to a comic store where they were selling pornography.
That's almost. He was getting close there.
I'll be honest.
Nope, stop talking, go to jail.
Those Black Kiss books are the beginning of Howard Chaykin telling you his very obvious fetish.
Fetish for
I mean, to
women?
be-
Not well, yes, women,
Or like 40s pinup women
There you
specifically.
trans women,
Oh.
Which is
oh,
fine.
yeah. That's
which
right.
is
I forgot.
fine. But he puts trans women in sexual. They're hypersexualized in his books. You know, like be attracted to trans women. Yeah, you know, whatever. But they're hypersexualized in his books, and he puts them in a lot.
I
Love
think
that
she had a
curve.
penis. How many were there? Oh my god. I got them all together. I didn't realize how
12.
many there were.
12-issue run.
And it's layered too.
Now there's Black Kiss by Vortex. Then there's Big Black Kiss, which was 3 issues, and then there was Hard Black Kiss, which is a hardcover edition of it. Very hard to find. I saw it once, put it down, couldn't find it again. Very mad at myself because I've never seen it since.
And then there's Paul Stanley's Kiss, which is totally different.
But kind of the same.
Then there's Stanley Ipkiss, and he was the mask. It had nothing to do with what we're talking about.
This is true.
Okay, that's all I got.
Oh, well then. So that leaves.
I might have picked up a couple comics this week, maybe a few, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. What the fuck happened there? Jesus Christ. Holy God in heaven. What the fuck? There we go. So I'm going to save this one right here. This is the one everybody's going to want to see. So I'm going to put this one off to the side. I got a huge stack of Dave Stevens stuff here. I'm a huge Dave Stevens fan. Been collecting him since long before the current hotness of Dave Stevens. Have some stuff that I couldn't even find because I was in Georgia, as the esteemed Mr. Worst said here just a few moments ago, and I just got back in town, so I only had a chance to pull like, I don't know, 24 Dave Stevens books, and didn't even get some of the crazier ones. But I'm going to show you the non-Dave Stevens first. This is stuff I picked up while I was down in the, I don't know what the hell it is, the Peach State. I don't know. I'm sorry if you're from Georgia, no offense, but you know, got some nice.
It's okay. They're being hit by tornadoes right now.
That's not okay. There's I got some nice oddball stuff here. You know, here's some my favorite subject, both 1 and 2. And that's one of the issues of Coven. There were so many of them. Scarlet Crush. I should say that's one of the first issues of Coven. There was like 3 or 4 different series. There's a Scarlet Crush there. That's another awesome book. Here's a Nira. You know, I love these oddball 90s books. Here's a real weird one. Check this out. Captain Nauticus and the Ocean Force. It is a special limited edition of only 20,000 copies.
Oh, kids.
That.
It's the only comic that gets more expensive if it is water damaged.
That's true. That's true. And then you know our good buddy David Pepos. He's about to come out with a Captain Planet book from Dynamite. Make sure you're putting it on your pre-order there, kids. But here he is in his Spencer and Locke #2. It's one of the issues I still needed.
Oh yeah.
One series. Of the Animosity books I needed. Again, with my oddball books from Topps, here is a Mars Attacks. And guys, I say oddball books, but look at the pedigree on this book. Charlie Adlard and Keith Giffen.
A lot of really great creators did that, like those Top series. It's weird.
They sure did. Then I got a Sensational She-Hulk. They are just on the cover. They are not in this issue. And a Mighty Samson, one of the last Mighty Samsons I needed from Gold Key. Very pretty one. And then a little bit of an oddball, a little 33 and a third RPM with the book, Wonder Woman, The Return of Brunhilde.
Damn.
This is the last issue I needed from the Empowered specials. These are all by Adam Warren. Empowered's a lot of fun. It's actually a very body positive book. But this young lady, she's a superhero. Her suit is where she gets her powers. And it gets destroyed. Every time she gets into a fight, it gets destroyed. And there's less and less scraps of her suit left. And she's always worried. She's like trying to hide her fat rolls and stuff. And it's like, it is a very body positive book, though. It really is. Now, last week, the incredible illustrator Jim Silk passed away. And Jim Silk was a very, very great illustrator. Did a lot of Betty Page stuff. Definitely a good girl artist. And he did 4 covers for American Century, and I found all 4 of them. He actually did 5, but the one is just a guy walking on the street. Who gives a shit about that? And unfortunately, I didn't get all these price stickers off yet, so this is kind of covering up the kiss scene here. And then, once again, another beautiful lady right there. And then I picked up one of the last ones I need. I only need one more to have all of the Marvel Man appearances. This is Warrior Magazine number 18. This is where Marvel Man was originally published, right? Before it came to the US and was Miracleman. And then I was so happy today when I ran into this. Not as happy as I was at the end, but really happy when I ran into this. Because this guy had a whole box of Epic Illustrateds.
Oh, they're so sweet.
Look at these. They're only $5 each. So many of them. Almost done with the run now. I mean,
any of them with Galactus?
Yes, some of the last Galactus story issues, the last ones I needed for the last Galactus story, which will never be finished. But look at these. John Byrne, Terry Austin, Bill Sienkiewicz, Dave Sim. I mean, these are just, they're incredible. They're really great sci-fi stories by and large, some fantasy too. But this is my favorite cover. Check this one out. Look at that. How gorgeous that is.
Let's
then,
do a Kickstarter campaign for clothes for her. Come on, guys.
Right, we should do that. And
I need a penny.
While I was gone, I had an order come in, and I had gotten a little Midnight Tales from Charlton. Tales calculated to drive you bats from Archie. Look at that. Let me that down a little bit. There we go. An issue of Bunny from Harvey Comics. I love these. Those are so much fun. One of the last issues of the original Captain Atom run I needed.
Sweet.
A Blue Beetle there, or third appearance of Ted Cord.
I'm only missing 2 or 3 myself now.
Yeah. The first issue to Spider Girl, her first run. And then this one.
Was the Zero not the first issue that came later?
The Zero came later, and also her What If appearance happened first.
Right.
So this is the first appearance ready, but the Zero came later. And then this was the last one I needed from this mini series, which is the second Static series, and the first one in which he's called Status Shock. It's issue number 4. This had a print run, I think, of like 3,800.
Yeah, it was very small towards the end.
Very, very small. And this is a John Paul Leon cover.
Oh yeah.
Written by Dwayne. In fact, the creative team is no longer with us at all. Dwayne and JPL are both gone. So I was really happy to find that. When I found the first 3 issues, I kid you not, I think I paid 40 cents or less a piece for them. And that one was the elusive one. I just couldn't find it. All right, I want to show you 2 more books. This one I got. This is from Fantagraphics. It is the first book in a series of 3 books that are basically the life and times of S. Clay Wilson, who is a prolific underground cartoonist. As you can see, it's his face, but it's also some of his pirate art in the background there. This guy did Checkered Demon. He did stuff in Zap. Just a prolific underground creator, right? You can never go wrong with S. Clay Wilson if you're into undergrounds, but also you have to be into violence, drugs, and sex. If you're not, you won't like S. Clay Wilson. Now, the big boy, right? I got a couple others I'll save till next week so we can get on to our Dave Stevens stuff here. But the big boy that I got to share with everybody.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Michael, I'm excited to show this to you because I showed it to the other guys. I showed it to the other guys, and I want to see your reaction.
Oh, wow. Holy shite.
All-Star Comics.
Warning, 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 warning. Banger alert, banger alert.
All-Star Comics 46 from 1949. There was still, even though it says DC, it still says a national periodicals publication inside. So I was at this shop that had all those epic illustrateds, and I picked all those out, and I grabbed a couple books for my brother too. And I'm up checking out, I'm chatting up the owner because that's what you do when you go to a comic shop, and I see this little beauty sitting in the back. Against the wall, and I was like, because you have it, how much is that All-Star Comics? Because look, I'm gonna be honest with you, books like this, I have a rule, right? And the rule is, if you can afford it when you see it, you bring it home.
Yes.
Let's be honest, how many times in my life am I going to see an All-Star Comics number 46? Maybe 1 or 2 more times ever. The people who have these books, they're not giving them up. Yeah, she's womped, but I got it for a good price. It's complete. Center wrap is disconnected, but it's there. And the cover is attached. So I never thought I'd ever own an original All-Star Comics just because the prices have always been high. But this one was very affordable. And so a colleague had thanked me for helping him with a very big project and had given me $250 of Visa gift cards. And they went very far towards the purchase of this little beauty right here. So
How much was it? Are you going to tell us?
it was 200.
Oh, so you still have $50 left over for us.
I still had 50 bucks left
for pizza.
Right.
Yay.
I spent that on blow, but I still had no, but
no, but
no, the total.
That's not a lot of blow you can buy.
No.
I know. The total,
more like blow.
The total at the comic shop was $300, so all 250 went. This was 200. All 250 went towards the comics. But you know, I just couldn't pass it up. You know,
also
like
Wonder Woman figuring prominently, like there couldn't have been that many covers where she was center stage.
Center, right? And you know, you're getting Flash and Green Lantern in the background, so you're getting 3 characters on the cover. You know, but you're right. Wonder Woman not in her solo title being the center point of the cover can't happen that often.
Nope.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna have to get some Mylar Golden Age or something. You know, it's chipping on the side. I want to be real cautious with it. I don't even want to really take it out of I took it out of the bag of board once just to give it a once over and look at it, and then very carefully put it back in. Pro tip. If you ever have a book look like this, you want to be take out carefully. You don't slide it along the board. You place it on the board and you slide the board in. That'll keep things from folding over. The back corner was folded over. I was able to unfold that fairly easily without it chipping off. So, but yeah, that's the big boy. That's the big boy for the week.
The secret to pulling those back, dental tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I use those a different way, but okay. Yeah. You can use them on comics. Sure.
You use a different set. You don't know what kind of comic snot you're pulling off of that.
Oh my God, guys. All right, that's it. What do you got there, Rob?
All right, let's see here. All right, there's my $50 of blow. It was literally a bump. But here we go. So here are the comics that I got this week. And we're going to switch over to another comic. And it was Lent this week. So I made a little deal with Lent, with God maybe, that no more expensive comics for the next 40 days. It's been 8 days and I'm hurting. But these were the ones that I got this week. This was $20. All these were like pretty cheap. Some of these I got ordered and they just came in. So it was before that period. So don't knock me or go ahead. I don't care. This is the first Simon Stroud. No one cares as much now, but hey, I've wanted this for a long time, and for $20, not bad. This thing was a lot more popular when Morbius came out, but since you had Doctor Who doing a dance, maybe not as much. Oh, hey, look at that. It's Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Oh my God. It's not the one we were talking about before, is it? No. But it just goes to show you this was first. I had this for a long time from the day it came out. And it was a great series, and it went really, really long, and it got up to about $200 at one point. Now you can get them for about 50 or 60. Now this I did kind of spend a bit on because this is a big issue. This I've been wanting for a very long time.
Lent, Rob.
I know, but this was before Lent.
Oh, okay.
Anybody know what this is?
The first appearance of G.I. Robot. We know.
Is the first appearance of the battleship, I think.
First haunted tank.
Oh.
Yeah, this is not easy to get. It's not on the cover. We'll talk about it later.
So it's not a tank.
There's issue 200. This is the haunted tank. That's what it looks like. Yeah, he is combating with the losers and Sergeant Rock. I love all these old war books because these you can read. They're one and done. Anybody know what this is?
Comic book.
100-page giant.
Well, there is that.
Bob.
Come on, Miracleman. I know you know this.
Another Nick Cardy cover.
Also true. Come on, my thumb is by him, but it's not the right one.
Something to do
Clue,
with
major clue.
The clue.
Go ahead.
The death of Santa Claus.
No. I mean, maybe also because he's featured prominently, but no, this is the second appearance of Jon Stewart. And no, not the comedian on The Daily Show. Jon Stewart is in the Green Lantern Jon Stewart. He's just not on the cover.
Oh.
Yeah, Miracleman, you might have gotten it had you have not walked away. But hey, that's all good. Finish your shit and come right back. I'm kidding.
Yeah, don't finish your shit. We were kidding.
And while you're at it, make me a sandwich. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Been in Key West. Ugh. All right, next after that, we have an earlier Sergeant Rock Art Army at War issue. Let me cover that up. No one needs to see that. There's another missing one I needed. Cover that up.
Second appearance of Jon Stewart.
What?
Mummy.
There you go. Just 20 minutes late, but you're good.
300th appearance of Sergeant Rock.
First costume.
There you go. First costumed appearance of Animal Man. They're just calling him A-Man here.
He's just
Yeah,
a man.
I
guys.
still need.
He was literally a guy running around in like a white button-up shirt with rolled-up sleeves and slacks and like penny loafers in his first two appearances.
I mean, the best way I could compare it to would be the first Ant-Man, where first couple appearances, he's just some dude that controls ants that can shrink. And then let's put him in a costume. Hey, now we got a superhero. Similar. This thing wasn't all that expensive. The first one is going to cost me at least over like 150, 200. This, not as bad.
Oh, no.
And this is the last pickup that I got, but I do have one more thing to show right after this. This is just one of the missing issues. Oh, there goes Kitty. We remember what happened once with Kitty, so this is good that this is the last one I'm showing right here. But, Superman battles himself, little clone. This one costs a little bit more money. I don't know why. Maybe because it is a Neil Adams cover, but I had other Neil Adams covers that didn't cost nearly as much. But what do I know? It's like I don't know anything about comics anymore. I mean, that's just evidenced by my top 10 list and screwing that up at the very beginning. But hey, let's see if I can not screw up something. So let me join the rest of the panel back over here.
Actually, Rob, I think that Superman's more expensive because it's the first appearance of Zatanna.
Zing!
Got him!
Yeah.
You were literally too stupid to insult.
Wait.
You're
was that
never
directed at
living
me?
this down, man. You're never living it
No.
down.
Until next week, where I make an even worse mistake. Around here, we just call them Tuesdays. All right, so I don't know where I placed my my scissors, so we're going to use a knife, which I haven't been sleeping much this week, so this could go either way.
Make sure the cats aren't about to jump on you, for the love of God.
I made sure the one cat's right down below by my feet right now.
All right.
Let's cut this away from me. I could have cut this before the show, but as evidenced by my top 10 list, I just did not have that kind of time. But hey, at least I didn't decide to go, hey, I'm not going to do tonight's show just because, whatever, because fuck it. No, I want to make sure we go live because this is history. All right, let's see if I
I'll
can
let you
cut
know you
this.
did a great job on your top 10 list for how little time you had. I'm very proud of you.
For what, and the what?
I said you did a great job on your top 10 list with how little time you had. I'm very proud of you.
We're all proud of you, Rob.
I just want to
It
let
was
you know.
last night. I did it last night after 3-day trial in Key West. Coming back, I'm like, all right, let me get this done so I don't have to do it last minute today. And had I have done that, I wouldn't have had a top 10.
Your cats won't say it, Rob, but I'll say it. We love you.
Hey,
Yeah,
just
please
make
don't-
sure I don't cut myself. Hey, look at this. I didn't cut myself. Yay.
Yeah, please don't
Right.
put your heart out to us because we know what that looks like.
Wouldn't be a first. All right, let's see.
Ooh, bubble wrap.
They really packaged this well. I wonder what it can be. I mean, I know what it is.
It came from Canada. They had to get it past the polar bears and the maple syrup police.
I mean, it smells like maple syrup.
Smells like
Weed.
beaver.
It smells like weed.
Yeah,
Beaver. Smells like
awesome.
beaver.
That's the only two smells: maple syrup and weed. That's what you get in Canada.
Oh god, I literally go for runs around my neighborhood, and the wafting of the marijuana is
Right, like I'm really happy it's legalized because people shouldn't be in jail over weed possession, but also have some couth, people.
I know.
I mean, leaving Key West on Wednesday, as I was driving out of there were 3 people in separate convertibles, all token up.
Yeah.
And then upon leaving today, where first as I drove out to from Miami to the Keys, there was that long corridor with plenty of brush. There was a brush fire, so it was just a thick haze where I'm going, shit, I might not be able to do the show if they close down the highway. Well, in any case, this is what I got.
Woo! First appearance of Zatanna.
I have been looking for that.
Oh man, you have like 12 first appearances of Zatanna.
You got to get them all. You got to get them all.
Rob has left the building.
That's okay. He was slowing us down. Anyways,
we're here to show comics in thumbnail
Zatanna
size.
first appeared in comics as a haunted tank. Most people don't know that.
I mean, in his first appearance, they didn't come right out and say that this was absolutely haunted. It just sounded like some crazy asshole saying, yeah, I keep hearing this gay, delightful laughter. It was 1961, so that meant a completely different thing. But yeah, they didn't show the original general. That came much later on that they did that whole origin. But yeah, there you go, haunted tank for war collectors. Big
little
book.
Cringy that it was haunted by a Confederate.
I mean, he didn't know better, right?
It was for a lost cause.
If they decide to do the movie, do you think he'll still be a Confederate soldier?
God, I hope not.
Stop firing on the president, Barack Obama. Why would I not fire on that?
Fuck.
Oh, good Lord. All right, so those were my pickups. So we can dive right into Dave Stevens, more pickups or whatever you got. It is now open season.
Well, I'm a loser. I don't have Dave Stevens, but I've got, you said I could show Neil Adams and Alex Toth. You said.
All right, so there, what I'll do is at the end of the episode, I'm going to drop in the description down below, right down there in your love locket. It'll be the link to the YouTube movie for the Dave Stevens film that's free, streaming live, not live, but streaming on YouTube where you can watch it at your leisure.
You don't have to pay for it, so we can watch Stan Lee get exploited again.
Well, one of the things that was in the movie, you had people being interviewed about his life, and one of it was an older interview from Dave Stevens, and he was talking about how he wanted to go meet Neil Adams to have his portfolio reviewed, but it was a little late. He was leaving, and he said, hey, I kind of heard about you. Can I take a look at your stuff? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to waste your time. I know it's the end of the day. It's like, is it okay with the time that I give you? So he reviews it, and each thing he had something to say about it, and by the end he goes, you could ink for Marvel. So Neil Adams kind of helped put him on that path. And later on, you had his contemporaries like Alex Toth, Bernie Wrightson, and these people were all influenced by him, and he influenced others. So it's unfortunate that he's still not around, but his artwork still is. So we're celebrating it tonight. Michael, let's see some of his contemporaries.
Okay. So I'll start off with Toth. The way you pronounce it. It's a beautiful, I think one of his last works. I think so. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But I love
96. Yeah, it was almost definitely one of his last pieces.
Yeah. That's one of my beautiful. I just love he just nice. Especially when he does so many heroes together. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's Neil Adams, I should say. And this one is a wraparound. So that's Superman's butt. There you go.
You know, I heard Neil turned into a bit of an old crank near the end, but without Neil Adams, comic creators getting the credit they deserve would absolutely not even be remotely possible.
Yeah, he did go a little crazy. He believed that the Earth was inflating and was like a balloon. He had a lot of weird theories about that.
Yeah, he kind of lost it. Oh, now that's gorgeous, and I want.
It is beautiful. I love this one. I was so happy. Was it? Yeah, IDW. Yeah, they did some beautiful stuff. And the guy who did it, Dean Mulaney. I think he's done a few kind of collections.
Yep.
He obviously cares about it. And what I love about these collections, it really does a great job. I won't like it does a great job of showing the art, but also the history too. So he tells the story. He also gives the art. It's a nice mixture of both getting the history of it, but also you get a lot of great art with it too.
Yeah.
And so you did say that Dave Stevens might have inked these. I'm not sure if that's
not
true.
number 1, but 2 and 3.
Oh, okay. So just
I just did research beginning of the show, so I'm not positive.
okay.
Does-
how
nice.
accurate it is.
Thank you.
Do you guys know who was the artist on those?
Howard Shakin.
Yes.
Hmm.
Also, if you ever meet Howard Shakin and bring him that to
He
sign,
hates it.
he will John burn you right out of that place.
It's a nice wraparound.
Well, why would he do that?
You fucking tracer! Your mother's a tracer!
There you
Okay,
go.
so that's nothing compared to your guys, so I just whetted the appetite. So you guys can show some really cool stuff.
Why don't you let me go
All right.
next? Since I don't have a lot either, and we can build to the bigger one. So I did a quick search, Dave Stevens, Star Wars Inc., and it says that he is on issue 6, but if you look at the indica, not that indica, he is not listed. He's not listed there. There's Roy Thomas and Howard Shakin. He's listed as an embellisher on a few others. I'll take the internet's word for it that maybe he did a few pages on this, uncredited, which is another issue in comics that we could talk about. But
It was like a workshop where he'd work on just a panel here and there, or a full page.
the Marvel, the Marvel style. He is, however,
Need it out on
credited
time.
here on the inside of the special edition number 2. It's so large I can't see. You can see his name there next to next to Roy Thomas's. There you go.
Oh, so yours is Whitman. Yours is a Whitman copy.
I think I have one of each. No, I've got 2 newsstands of number 1. I've got a Whitman.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a Whitman of 2. And then let's see, number 3 is also a Whitman.
Cool.
I got to replace my number 2. It's in bad shape. And this one also has it this time. It's on this page. Embellisher.
Okay.
Right. So that is the sum total of in my collection, and then being sold tomorrow on the whale auction. Plug. I came across these at half price for half price cover. Cheval Noir number 7, $1.75 pickup. And I know I shouldn't say it because Miracleman's going to show a 30-cent pickup that's worth more. And then
Not a competition.
just that beautiful one, Cheval Noir number 1, also for $1.75. That is pretty much the sum total of my Dave Stevens collection. Some maybes, some embellishing, and some beautiful covers.
And don't forget to embellish what you're doing tomorrow night again, one more time.
I am on the whale auction. If you go check out Instagram, I just dropped a reel. I don't want to show all my books here that I'm selling, but I'm selling some big books because I'm trying to buy a big book. So, I might have a buy it now, like this, an open Star Wars pack of issues 1, 2, and 3.
Ooh.
Cool.
Reprints, but still. I don't know. I've got tons. Like I said, I don't want to show it all, but
What are you
the
saving up for?
1 in 25s to the Secret Wars run, and a whole secret Marvel superhero Secret Wars from 1984, and other various odds and ends.
Oh my God!
The thing is, I don't know who that is.
She's a goddess. Oh my God!
He literally crawled out of here. I went to look, and she's not here anymore. So that was cool.
Tacoma.
She
Make her
must have had a
crawl?
few, at dinner.
Ah.
We've had a
Oh, I get it, Tacoma. Your milkshake brings all the girls to the yard.
something like that. Or I'm just a good talker. Who knows? But no, it's conference week, so we're all getting. If I didn't have a cold, I'd be getting a little loopy at dinner tonight too. But instead, I came home and took a nap before the show because that's where I'm at. Let me show you one more. Again, nothing to do with Dave, but it is to do with Dave because it's a Neil Adams cover.
Okay.
Where is it?
Tacoma, can I ask what you're saving up for? Why you're selling books for? To save up for?
GSX #1, the original.
Giant size X-Men.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, there is a. Well, somebody's actually putting one up on the Whale Show tomorrow. That's like a 3.0 and probably would go cheaper than the one I'm looking at. But my LCS manager. This is why it's good to know your LCS managers and talk to them, ladies and gentlemen. Told me, hey, I just got this collection in, some really big books. Yes, she was eating it. It's right here. There you go. Now go put your clothes
I want to
back
see
on.
her again. Come back. Oh my God, she's a goddess. A goddess.
Anyway, where was I? I got distracted. Oh, so my LCS manager goes ahead and says, "Hey, I got this book," and so they bought it in the next week. It's like it's got some almost burnt or crispy edges. It looks like it could be a 7075, and he is willing to do layaway, which is the big thing because he's talking probably a bit bigger than I've spent on any comic before. So I'm hoping to sell a bunch and get like a big chunk of it done. Anyway, this one just came off the press this morning in my classroom.
Oh, wow. That's Neil Adams?
Neil Adams, yep.
Wow.
Witching Hour issue 13. Really nice condition book. So looking not near mint. So yeah, there's my Dave Stevens connection because apparently Neil got him his start. There's another Neil Adams or a Neil Adams.
Miracleman, you're going to be the man of the hour because, oh boy, you have some
Yeah, let's see
really
what
good
you got.
ones.
I do. Unfortunately, I didn't get to pull everything, guys. I'm sorry. I just did not have time before the show started. But we'll show a couple of books, and I know some of them my esteemed colleague, Mr. Mint over here, has. So I'm going to show you some stuff I'm pretty sure he doesn't have. So first and foremost, here's back issue number 47, Dave Stevens' final interview. Dave Stevens cover. That's a really great book. Here is, I believe I don't believe, this is the first printing of the original Rocketeer story. All right. That started in Star Slayer, moved to Pacific Presents, and then ended up in the Rocketeer special at Eclipse. Here's his second adventure, the New York adventure. Right there. These are not very common. You don't see them all the time. A little bit harder to find. Here, if we're going to talk about hard to find ones, is the Iger Comics Kingdom with a Dave Stevens Sheena cover. That's tough to come by. That one there, I tracked down somebody actually given me some money to a comic shop, and I went to the shop, and the guy had a really womped cover. I mean, it was beat, and he wanted like $60 for it. And I was like, "You're out of your mind." And then, believe it or not, I went on Amazon and found it for $40. I found this one for $40, and I was like, "Yep, that's mine." And then, I got a couple other nice, super cool things here, like the Jetpack Treasury Edition here. Look at that. Look how big that sucker is right there, huh? That's a pretty. And then, I know nobody here has this one. This is Rocketeer Cargo of Doom #2 with a Jetpack Comics exclusive cover.
Wow.
Now, Jetpack Comics did 2 exclusive covers, both of them taken from the original Rocketeer story. The other one is the famous scene where she's laying on the couch being photographed when Cliff kicks in the door. And that's, that one's a little bit tougher to get. I haven't been able to win one at auction yet. They sold them out of the shop a long time ago. Let's see. Oh, and I showed this one, I think, when I first got it. Xena Warrior Princess. That's a Dave Stevens. I don't think I ever showed you when I got it, but there I finally got my 3-dimensional Seduction of the Innocent.
Consider me seduced.
And just again trying to stick with the more difficult to find ones. Now, make sure the kids are out of the room, everybody, because these ones have boobalas.
Daddy, gotta drop this.
Daddy,
what is this doing there?
Yes, this is art. This is art. Venus Domina #1 from Verotic.
Oh, I need it.
Daddy, why is mommy on the cover?
And here's Venus Domina Candlemas Eve Special Edition, another Dave Stevens.
I need it too.
Yeah, they're not easy to come by. I also have the Satanica, but I couldn't find it before the show. Now, those are
the Verotic illustrated too.
Oh yeah, I have that too. I just didn't grab it out. Yeah,
you have that too.
I have. The Verotic Illustrated, I bought brand new off the rack. That was my first Dave Stevens comic ever. Okay. And I got a bunch of more of the comics here, but I'm going to move on. Just stick with the hard stuff here, right? And you know what? Some of the other stuff I didn't pull. I might grab it and show it off next week. But here's one that I guarantee most of you don't have. Now, this is more Betty Page than Dave Stevens, although there is some Dave Stevens in here. However, I have that one too, Barbarian. I couldn't find it. I'm going to pull that one next time, though, I promise. But this, you can find the art from Stevens in this, in other things. But if you are a completist like me,
oh yeah,
this issue of Playboy has Betty Page retrospective.
Uh-oh.
And there are multiple pieces from Dave in there. There's some Jim Silk in there who also did Betty Page stuff. And a couple of other artists. Now, I've shown these before, but I got to show them if we're doing Dave Stevens. Here's his hardcover collected edition of the complete sketches and studies. And I have to be careful of where I open, but I post these on Blue Sky all the time.
And these were mostly from when he was in art school?
Some of them, but some of them is actually, this is the artwork he submitted for the Catwoman entry in Who's Who. The Phantom Lady is in here. A lot of this stuff is unfinished. It's just partial sketches, warm-ups. I think literally after he passed, they gathered up everything, every single scrap they could find.
That's what they said in the movie.
And put it.
This was the last thing that he helped put together, even though he didn't want to put a lot of these unfinished sketches in there.
Yeah.
But after watching the movie, this is the #1 thing I want to get.
This is gorgeous. Again, I got this for $20. Here is Dave Stevens Covers and Stories. Another great hardcover. Now, this one does have a lot of finished pieces. There's his Madman. There's his inks over Kirby.
You get Doom and Silver Surfer. Go back to that Doom for a second.
Yeah.
The single best person who ever inked Jack Kirby was Dave Stevens.
Yep.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that inking.
Wow.
Now, this, because I didn't grab it, but I'll show it to you. This is the Verotic illustrated cover.
Oh, nice.
And there's his sketch for it. And again, I'll grab this for next time and show that one off. Then I have the hardcover slipcase edition of the Complete Rocketeer book.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
All right. Look at that.
That makes my cover hard.
Right? Tell me about it. And that, again, all three of these books I got for $20 American.
What?
No.
Each $20 each.
No.
That's how much the gun cost when you held up the store?
Now, here's the big boy. You guys ready to see the big boy? This is the big
Yes,
boy.
I am.
Okay. This is the one that is the Dave Stevens book to have. Okay.
Hawkman #4.
First appearance of Zatanna. See, this is.
I hate you guys.
This is Brush with Passion, the art and life of Dave Stevens. This is the leather-bound slipcase edition. This was a diamond exclusive.
Oh my God.
I
Oh,
think there were
man.
only 400 of these. It's pretty low. It's a pretty low amount. It's got a lot in here. There's even a section in the back about his relationship with Betty. This is where I learned about how he met Betty Page. And as the story goes, I'll give you guys the dime store version here. He used Betty was his muse, right? He was in love with Betty as a young man. And when he made The Rocketeer, he very obviously made Cliff
Right.
Secor's girlfriend, Betty Page. And so after Disney bought it from him to make a movie, he wrote a check. So let me back up. Betty had disappeared from the limelight. Okay. She actually had run on some really hard years. She had been in a sanitarium. She had been arrested. She had held her ex-husband and children at gunpoint at one point. She has some real mental issues.
Stabbed the mailman.
Stabbed the mailman. She has some real mental health issues. She really did. And in the early 90s, there was a glut on the market of very low-grade Betty Page stuff. Somebody had come across her more risque photos, the bondage stuff, the full nudity. You know, that wasn't as really well known prior to that. And they were just flooding the market, really cheap card sets, really cheap low-grade comics. They were basically porn comics about Betty Page. And because she was a public figure and because it was a pen name, essentially, her stage name, nobody was stopping people. So Dave, wanting to do right by Betty because he just had loved her his whole life, cuts a check and mails it to, he finds Betty Page's brother, mails him the check with a letter explaining that, I made The Rocketeer, I sold it to Disney, Betty was the inspiration, and I feel like I owe this to her. And his brother, so surprised by this, reaches out and talks to Dave and thanks him for it and says he'll make sure she gets it, and that this is a lot of help for her. And they start up a regular kind of talk, and they talk to each other over the course of months. And then in the very early 90s, there was a horrific earthquake in California, devastated California. 92, I think, maybe 91, devastated California. Betty lived in California, so did Dave. And Betty's brother reaches out to Dave one day and goes, hey, because of what you've done, I'm going to show something else off while I tell the story. Because of what you've done, Betty is now in talks to license her image and finally start to make some money off of her resurging popularity. These, by the way, are Dave Stevens postcards. They cost $1.95, and you could order them from Pacific Comics back in the day. Anyway, so he goes, well, look, she has to go to the signing, but the highways are a mess, right? Because of the earthquake. Would you be at all interested in going and picking her up and driving her there and then spending the day with her while she does this signing? And Dave, of course, her brother, according to the story, hadn't even finished saying it before Dave was saying yes, right? He was like, I can't, that's my, I've wanted to meet her my whole life, So of course, this is, by the way, the second Rocketeer postcard set from Pacific Comics. Here we go. I know nobody has these. Again, these cost $1.95 when they first came out. So he goes and he picks up Betty, and he takes his Betty, I forget her name, but the Cliff's girlfriend. He takes all those drawings with him to show her. And you'll see by this last one, it was pretty obvious who she was. And he picks her up and introduces himself, and he's very tongue-tied. He's meeting a hero of his, somebody he's wanted to meet his whole life. And he picks her up, he takes her there, and he stays with her the entire day. And it was like 6-7 hours. She's there signing stuff. And remember, she's an older lady now. She's not, she's not the young, beautiful woman that everybody's seen in the picture. She's, she's in her 60s or 70s at this point. And he takes very good care of her all day. And because of that, and I won't get into more details because the story goes for a while, but because of that, they started their own correspondence, which eventually led to Dave essentially being like, not her guy Friday, right? Dave did everything for her, picked her up for the doctor, worked with her agent at first representing her, then took over and did a lot of the representation himself for her to make sure she would get paid for these licensed products so she could live a little more comfortable of a life, because she really wasn't living a very comfortable life at this point. And as the story goes, again, this part is a rumor. I did not find this written in the book, but I have heard this from several old comic guys. The fella the inker who stole all that Jack Kirby original artwork, and I can't remember his name, but he inked over him on Who's Who. The story is that guy, it was well known that he took advantage of the old comic guys that were just, not really into the scene anymore. And what he would do is he would get artwork from him, sell it, tell him he sold it for $200, and then pocket the other $800 that he got on it, right? It's the guy who supposedly is the guy who inked Jack Kirby's pencils for Who's Who. And I'm sure I could figure it out if I looked it up.
We don't need to say the name for liability purposes.
Okay, that's fair. He's long dead, though. But
well, his family could.
His family could.
Besmirched my family's name.
Supposedly, Dave walked into Betty's house one day, and that guy's sitting at the table, and Betty's showing him things, and Dave knew instantly that's the son of a bitch who ripped Jack off. And he rushed over to the guy, yoinked him up out of the seat, drug him outside, said if he ever saw him there again, bad things would occur to him and his personage. Now, that's the rumor I heard that would pass to me, and more than a few old comic guys shared that story with me. So maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But long story short, Dave Stevens, while he's a good girl artist, and he's certainly drawn women in ways that were, we'd probably look at today, well, that's an unrealistic beauty and yada, yada, yada. Jesus, I didn't even grab out the Cheval Noirs. He really went out of his way to take care of Betty in her old age and to make sure that people weren't taking advantage of her, and to make sure that she could live a little bit better of a life based on her body of work. And, I'm sure he's done bad things in his life, but looking at it through that lens, that's one of the most stand-up guys I've ever known in comics. Which is, of course, why he's gone, right? Only the good die young. Always. And, so if you hear somebody complain about Dave Stevens and the way he draws pretty ladies and, it's unrealistic, yada, yada. Okay, maybe that's fair, but you're not going to find a lot of guys out in the comics world who's gone that far out of the way. I don't think that's, you're not. Okay, Jesus, Tacoma. You're not going to find a lot of guys out in the world, period, who went as far out of their way to take care of somebody the way Dave did. So that's it. That's the story.
That's a great story. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have the kitty back over here on the corner, so let's pay attention to that. So piggybacking off of what Miracleman was saying, yes, Betty Page was the muse of Dave Stevens. It got to the point later on that after he did Rocketeer, after the movie was made, that's when he was able to reach out, became friends with her, got to the point where he was taking her to her doctor appointments, picking up her groceries. And then later on in his life, right around 1999, 2000, it was determined he had hairy cell leukemia. It's a very rare blood disease. And the end of his life became more like what he was doing for Betty. where somebody had to help him get his groceries, take him to doctor's appointments, take him to his chemotherapy, which is just devastating. And one of the worst things about the end of his life was he didn't want anybody to know. He lived with this for about a good 8 years or so before finally his doctor said, "You have 6 months to live." And he figured he'd had more time from that. And the final book I'll show in this large stack here is the final book that was printed of his original artwork posthumously. So his artwork was based off of old 1940s, 1950s, 1930s pinup girls. And he would subsume these different styles to come up with something really his own. Nobody else had brushwork like him. This Valkyrie cover is a recreation of an old one that came out back in the 1940s that had very much the same look, and he just improved on it. And that was about his style. He wanted to become the kind of artist that would be looked at for technical drawings as well as his beautiful line art for women. He was strictly on brushwork, and it was like every cover he'd come out with, he would try and improve upon what he did before. Unfortunately, he was very, very slow in doing his artwork. Before he started doing comics, which back in that time was considered disposable, a garbage medium, unfortunately, and he didn't want to be a comic artist. He wanted to become a real graphic artist. When he met Jack Kirby told him the old line of your artwork should be in galleries. You shouldn't be in comics. And he didn't understand what that meant back then, that essentially you're working in a slave trade. And as you see, he used different models. Some of them he would sort of Frankenstein, use the legs of one, the arms of another, the face almost always of a Betty Page's sort of model. And here's another one that we're all familiar with. I was very familiar with this cover as a boy, but I didn't know who the artist was. I just went, zibbity zooty, give me that booty. But yeah, he was able to do the bad girl in the sheets, but it looked like the good girl having fun and being sweet in the facial features. Nobody else did good girls quite like him. He wound up influencing a lot of people like Adam Hughes, who wound up buying the Laserdisc copy of The Rocketeer when he came out, and he brought it over to Dave Stevens, and he wrote something very similar to what Jack Kirby would have said, that, your artwork should be in galleries. And now he is one of the top artists in the industry. But they all affected one another with their own styles, and he wasn't a trained artist. He would just sit at the board and draw. It wasn't until after really it was just before he found out he had hairy cell leukemia that he enrolled in art college, and he started learning how to become a better painter. And his paintings were great, but they weren't perfect in his eyes because he was a perfectionist. He would spend 3-4 days on a single piece, and then it would just sit there for months because he needed to get an eyebrow correct. That's the kind of thing that he was like in his art style. He wouldn't give up anything in his integrity for his design skills. So when he finally went to art college and he became really, really good, we never really got to see any of that because that was towards the end of his life. And he would still go to conventions and still go to signings, and he'd get blood transfusions to fatten himself up a bit so he wouldn't look as gaunt and sickly. He didn't want anybody to know. At the end of his life, when some of his friends were telling him, "Hey, you should tell Betty, she considers you her best friend." Now that's from the movie. And again, at the end of the episode, I'm going to drop in the description down below. It will be the Dave Stevens Drawn to Perfection movie. It's for free on YouTube. It's also free on Tubi. But he would take jam pieces with some of his other friends like Mark and Evaniel and Spiegel. And every time that he'd start working on a Rocketeer story, he'd start work on the next issue and the company would fold. And then he'd start working on another issue and the company would fold. Like towards the end of one of the runs, he was working for Comico. After Comico folded, let's try Eclipse. Eclipse folds. How about Dark Horse? Then Dark Horse is having a problem with the The fact that the bottom dropped out of the comic market towards the end of the 90s, and the Rocketeer didn't do as well at the theaters as people expected, and he just wasn't as into it anymore. So he just kept moving on, and that's why he went back to art school. He wanted to better his craft.
It's pronounced Kumiko, by the way.
Oh, Kumiko.
I was literally corrected by a artist for Komiko, and it was extremely embarrassing.
For the longest time, I was self-trained myself for a lot of things. Like I used to read a lot of philosophy, and I would talk about a particular person, and I'm trying to remember his name right now, Albert Camus. I was calling him Albert Camus for the longest time until one day I'm talking about The Stranger in class, and then the professor goes, "It's pronounced Camus." Fuck. So yeah, we're not striving for perfection. Yeah, we're not striving for perfection like Dave Stevens. It's about progress, not perfection, because there's no such thing as perfection. Because even as he would do something as perfect looking as this, he'd probably go, well, I probably could have fixed the eye. Because comics was about speed, and before he got into comics, he was doing storyboards for movies. He did the storyboards for Raiders of the Lost Ark. He did the storyboards for Thriller by Michael Jackson. He took a meeting in Michael Jackson's fucking bathroom. He went around to tell his friends, like, hey, look, I took this 2-hour meeting in a bathroom. It's with someone famous. Well, who? Michael Jackson, but you can't tell anybody. What the hell? I'm going to tell everybody. But one of the first things he was doing way back in the day in the early 70s was things like this. Johnny Quest. He was working in animation studios, and it was all about trying to be really, really fast. But he wasn't fast. While other people were able to do like 60 drawings a day for storyboards, he was doing 5. But the production designer and the director liked him more than anybody else. It got to the point where Steven Spielberg said, I want you to do the storyboards for Raiders of the Lost Ark. And while Spielberg was saying, I want more detail, more detail. These are the most amazing things I've ever seen. It was also that Steven Spielberg could take the original art home. But this was some of the stuff he was working on with Alex Toth. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I've been making plenty of mistakes tonight. But he was working with Toth. He was working with Adams back in the day, Zakowski. And I mean, Johnny Quest kind of helped put him on the map a bit. But he was slow. But who cares when it looks like this? Because if it's about quality, not quantity, this is why we remember him. And also why we remember him is because of the kindness that he had. Because towards the end, yeah, when he did The Rocketeer, it's not like it gave him a lot of money. It didn't pay for a lot. It didn't buy him a mansion. It bought him a teeny tiny house in 1991 that he wound up losing in the market crash of 2008, which is consequently the year he died. But his art was all about the jungle adventures, the sci-fi. Frazetta was a huge inspiration on him. And the artwork, he just would chew on it and digest it, and it would come out looking better and better each time. Like, he could have just had the model like that and drawn the trees very simply, but no, he wanted the detail. And that's something that even people like Toddlebean, that later worked with Alan Moore on Swamp Thing. This is the kind of stuff that he inspired, because he didn't rest on his laurels. It was all about getting better as an artist. And when that documentary came out in 2022, books like this was just $100 book. When that movie came out, this blew up to $200-300. Books like Seduction of the Innocent, that was a $15 book on average, this blew up to $50. Everything doubled, tripled, quadrupled in price. Not a lot of these are in existence. They didn't have 100,000 print runs like Marvel and DC. So that's another good reason why they went up. But it's not like these have any major first appearances of characters that you've heard about. It's just a man and his love for art and the perfection of it. And as we get towards the end here, he did like combining the bad girl and good girl. But here we go, another slightly earlier piece where it's not as much about the background, it's about the forefront characters. and the life and soul that he would put into the eyes of these characters, they'd feel real. They felt authentic. Coming up to the last few issues here that I have, there's still a few more that I need, like the Mr. Monster, the Misogyphils, that Comics Journal issue that Miracleman showed. I mean, even this right here, sci-fi. Everything about it was just perfect. And when he was doing his Rocketeer book, the interiors could have been covers. So much to the point that when IDW was compiling all their work, they did become covers. Now, Eclipse, here's another cover, and this is the only issue that I have by him that is
Nice.
signed on the first page. I think I paid $50 for this back in 2020 before the pandemic, and I was showing this, and Miracleman was going, "Oh my God, I can't! How much did you get? $50? That's great! How much that would go for today? I have no idea because I ain't selling it." Even worked on Xena, Warrior
Xena
Princess for
#2,
this
yeah.
area.
I will just
And you can
say,
see that his art. Go ahead.
I'll just say it here. I will take a Dave Stevens Xena over a J. Scott Campbell Xena any day.
Any day of the week.
Oh, I could agree with that. Easy. Yep. Real quick, let's see who else is in the chat here. Hi, Molly Time. Waving back at you. Hi. I'm waving at you with a Xena Warrior Princess. Who else does that in comic? All right, so after this Xena Warrior Princess, you see this is towards the later end of the 90s here. The artwork starts becoming, well, a little bit more composed. He's trying to get more of that technical detail that he's been going after his entire life. But by 2008, he does this final cover that gets published in a Thomas Jane comic. For those of you that don't know who Thomas Jane is, if you remember the movie The Punisher, I think it was the War Journal one, or maybe it was the earlier one. He was Punisher. Okay, so he did the earlier one, and that earlier one gave him the leisure to be able to do his own comics. So he did Bad Planet. And in this issue number 6, this was the last published artwork done for a comic book that was published after he passed. I believe he passed in March 11th of 2008 is when he passed. That was just this week, which is why this week we're calling this on our show Dave Stevens Week. But in his final piece right here, he was already learning painting. He was applying it. He had Linda Martin doing Linda Martin was such a great colorist that she wound up redoing all the colors for the IDW re-release of the Rocketeer. That's another one I'm going to have to get. But this has just been a retrospective of the life of Dave Stevens. He was an artist. He was a ladies' man. He was a perfectionist. But most of all, unfortunately, he's gone. So we're just here as comic fans to say, keep his voice alive, keep his artwork alive, keep his thoughts alive in us. So anything that anybody going to be appearing in the next week on any other shows or anything you want to promote? I know Tacoma has something he wants to talk about.
Rob is the hype man you never knew you needed. No, just tomorrow, not just my stuff, but Astonishing Auctions used to be Strictly Comics. They're trying to switch the channel. So it's the same group of people running it, MT and Edwin and those guys. So look for Astonishing Auctions, sub up to that YouTube channel. I know I'm going to be there. That's going to be there. I think Roman might drop by. I know MT will be there, and I don't know who, and Michael Villarreal, and I don't know if any other sellers, but that's the lineup. And I think I've already shown you some of my books. And if you want to see more, check out the awesome Instagram reel. I spent 30 minutes. Actually, it was only like 15, but it felt like forever because I was trying to line up the dun 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 and of Eye of the Tiger with a different comic coming out on each week. So I was excited by that. I've never actually played with reels like to that extent. I edited a video. It was actually pretty easy.
Oh, you're still doing your full run Fridays?
When I can. It's been a while. So we try. I'm going to do Miss Marvel's coming up soon, the original 77 run, but Metarog just did it. So I'm like, oh, I'm 3 books away and somebody just dropped that. So I got to figure out something else to do.
Just wait a month and then re-release it.
Could do. But I got to get the Marvel superhero fall and spring one to complete the run.
All right. Actually, there was one more thing I wanted to show because this week on Blue Sky, and as people know, I don't use any more Instagram. I don't use Twitter. It's for corporate overlords that I don't want to help contribute to their billion-dollar yacht fund. So you can find me on Blue Sky, not near mint at bsky.social. And here we have Phil Hester, who owns the original artwork for the roof on this copy, and just look at the beautiful detail he has in this. I can't believe he owns it, but Phil Hester, God love him, man. He has one of the greatest art collections in comics.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, he was showing some Wayne Howard original pages he was bidding on at one point, and Wayne Howard did Midnight Tales for Charlton, and he said then, I asked him if he had any Kirby stuff, and he goes, no, that's beyond mere mortals at this point. But man, his art collection is great. He's also very economically priced if you want to hit him up for commissions. And he does his work fast, unlike the two other artists I've been waiting for over a year on a response for.
And just like him, we have Tony Isabella, who now goes by Jenny Isabella, on their eBay page. They have a first appearance of Mara that they're trying to sell. So look up Tony Isabella's eBay page. Otherwise, anybody appearing on any other shows or anything that they want to promote? Michael, Miracleman?
I've got a minnow auction. So basically, I'm selling comic books nobody wants. So it's not as successful as the whale auction. I'm sorry.
I know someone would want that.
Everybody wants some comic.
Miracleman, you just say, do you want some comics about, you don't even have to finish it. He just goes, yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell you what they are. Did you not hear me? I said, yes.
Accurate description. I have nothing else going on. Although if you do have comics that you go, hey, nobody ever wants these, I am probably interested. So feel free to reach out. You're muted.
He knows.
That way you can't mispronounce things.
I should just rename this episode The Train Wreck. I was supposed to be trying to help for the publicity, the idea, the love of Dave Stevens, and it's all about mistakes. But again, I'm not a perfectionist. My last name is Worst. I'm not about perfection. It's about progress. I'm a recovering alcoholic. It's all about just trying to be a little better every day, especially if you had 3 days of trial and then another hearing where you've been on the road for a grand total of 9 hours today. But this has been a great episode. One thing I want to leave off with, way back in episode 31, we opened up the show and everything shut down, our comic stores, the world. So I'm going to leave off with the first 3 minutes of that episode. You can go watch it on another time. But otherwise, stay tuned later on for tonight. I believe the low grade should be live. Maybe Biggie Shack was live, and perhaps even Jig's Kingdom might go live tonight. So here we're going to show you your moment of Zen. This was from 5 years ago, almost to the damn date. This is episode 31 of the coronavirus panic at the LCS. Good evening. Welcome to Not Near Mint. It's episode 31. Apologize for the audio. Panic we got the better LCS. Sometimes. This is now a worldwide lockdown of unsizable proportions. It's 10 p.m. Wednesday, March 8th, 2020. An hour before broadcast last week, 3 life-altering things happened that are still changing the comic book community as a whole today. Last week, starting at 9 p.m., the president addressed the worldwide coronavirus pandemic and sent the stock market on the steepest dive in the history of this country, losing a third of its all-time value in the span of a week. Beloved national icons, Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, both announced that they had the virus. And the NBA announced the cancellation of the rest of its season. Since then, Emerald City Comic Con has postponed until August the 21st. MegaCon will postpone until July. Brick City Comic Con will be doing the same. Countless national and local comic conventions have either postponed or outright canceled their own shows. While comic book YouTube icon Robert the Comic Book G-Spot, or Robert the Comic Book G-Man Galvin, was assaulted, requiring a stitch in getting toilet paper. The rest of the comic book community is wondering, will we get our books in on time? Diamond has permitted shops that have received their orders to go ahead and put them out yesterday, Tuesday. So this way that shops wouldn't have to open on Wednesday. Some of these shops may have even violated city orders for non-essential businesses to operate today. Here in Miami, I visited 3 shops, and all 3 were open. Lady Fantastic and Comics on the Mind, both of their shops, their LCSs, were closed. And Miracleman was able to get his pull list today. Each of us have ran into some difficulties that were far from normal. Tonight, as after we show our new books that we were able to pull from this week, we'll discuss the coronavirus and the global pandemic lockdown and how it might affect our comic book buying, our selling, our mailing, job losses, financial insecurity, and how the falling global market might affect our comic book collections. But first, our panel. Welcome our Tennessee resident comic book. I was muted. And that was our show from way back in 2020, March 18th, bringing everybody right back in here. And yeah, that since then, our comics have been shipped again. Diamond is bankrupt, and it looks like things kind of went back somewhat to normal-ish. No, everything's right back into the shitter. Don't get measles. We love y'all. Our next episode will be next week on March the 4th. No, that was tonight. Next episode will be Friday, March 21st, Old Comic Book Day, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you again next time. Love y'all. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see this episode again, along with a catalog of back episodes and issues, surf on over to Not Near Mint on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.